So a lot of people have been asking for a brand new adventure style game for the next big Sonic game in 2021. However, what exactly are people asking for when they say adventure game? And is it what we actually want? Let's discuss right now.
I got hot sauce in my bag, swag.
Hello there beautiful human, my name is RidersDX. Welcome to my channel where today we've got yet another discussion when it comes to the next Sonic game, and more specifically the adventure game that a lot of people, including myself, have been asking for. And so before we get started, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like videos like these, and also subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos on Sonic news, updates, and discussions. And so I've made a few videos about the adventure gameplay this past month, but I've never actually sat down or at least explained what it actually means to want an adventure game with adventure gameplay, because I think I've been referring to adventure as the Sonic portion for the most part. I love the Sonic levels in these games, and so do tons of people. Like, there's no surprise there. I just feel like these levels combine the very best parts of Sonic together. You know, the speed, but also the precision, the momentum, the smart mechanics. It's everything that I personally have ever wanted within a Sonic game. However, this is also ignoring a huge portion of adventure, in fact, the majority of adventure, and that is multiple gameplay styles, such as treasure hunting, mech stages, fishing, and who knows whatever else falls into the category. And so, when we're asking for a brand new adventure game, we also are sort of asking for all this to come back as well. And so before I really dive into it, here's how I would personally define the adventure gameplay as we currently know it. And so obviously the Sonic gameplay is a much more integral part to it. I mean, it's what defines games like Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and even Sonic 06. So it's slower, more exploration emphasized version of Sonic compared to what we typically see nowadays. But all adventure games also have multiple playstyles to them. And so these playstyles have a huge range in terms of what kind of gameplay that they encompass. So for example, there are some gameplay styles that resemble Sonic slightly, such as Tails in Sonic Adventure 1, where you basically control Tails in Sonic levels with his flight abilities. And so they're not too different from Sonic, it's just his flying ability makes all these levels like insanely easy. So that's the main thing. But there's others that create almost a complete shift in gameplay style. A big example of this is the mech stages in both Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure 2. This is the first time that we basically are controlling a robot or just some kind of machine and shooting at things within a Sonic game. And that's definitely almost the antithesis of Sonic gameplay. Like, it's just something that you would never imagine appearing in a Sonic game. And don't get me started on things like fishing, because yeah, that just says everything in of itself. So I do think that Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic 06 are the only games that really fit this description. We also can consider Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog adventure games in spirit as well. However, they are also their own kind of beasts, and I personally put them in a different category just because they have so many other different new ideas going on that it just isn't a full-on traditional adventure game in my eyes the way that those other three games are. And so, like I said, if we're asking for adventure gameplay, are we asking for all of adventure? I guess it sort of depends on the person, because everyone has a different opinion on this. And so definitely let me know what your opinion on this is in the comment section below. But here's what I personally would love to see. Ultimately, and this might be controversial, I know that there's going to be some people that are going to get mad about this, but I want a game that focuses solely on Sonic's gameplay. That's the adventure game that I want. This is the gameplay style that has always been the clear highlight in every adventure title, and the levels are what everyone always comes back to upon replays. I mean, everyone plays a little bit of everything when it comes to coming back to these games, but the Sonic levels are by far the most commonly revisited portions of these games, even in speedruns for instance. It's also the closest I feel like we've ever gotten to a gameplay style that successfully translates what works so well in a 2D plane to a 3D environment. again. What made those 2D games so amazing is the fact that they were so able to effortlessly combine speed and precision platforming that I just feel like the Boost gameplay style in particular was not able to combine. I think 3D Sonic adventure gameplay still has some things it can improve on, as precision in these games isn't the easiest thing in the world, at least compared to the 2D games, and that's very much due to the fact that you're now working with a 3D plane where there's so many more variables to work with. However, I think that this gameplay is the closest we've ever come to it, and ever since Sonic Team abandoned it, it's just become harder and harder to maintain that, especially when you have a gameplay style where Sonic is going at like 10,000 miles per hour. Like, it's kind of impossible, really. I will say that this doesn't mean that I haven't enjoyed the other gameplay styles, but I ultimately can't help but think about the time and energy they took away from perfecting the Sonic gameplay. For example, how many more Sonic levels could we have gotten if they didn't have to create these massive playgrounds for Knuckles and Rouge in Sonic Adventure 2? And don't get me wrong, treasure hunting is by far one of my favorite gameplay styles in the adventure games, probably my second behind Sonic levels. And I do think that it is very well a potential spin-off that they could have starring Knuckles, as I think treasure hunting, they really did have something going with it, you know? I think that kind of exploration can be very fun for a Sonic game. I just don't like the fact that it took time and energy away from developing the Sonic levels, which is ultimately the main attraction when it comes to people wanting to play a Sonic game. How much more refined could Sonic have been in Sonic Adventure 1 if they didn't spend time creating fishing mechanics for Big? Like, think about it, maybe we'd have a better working camera, or maybe the levels wouldn't have so many janky physics. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I do understand that the adventure games came out during an era where a lot of games were being pressured to have multiple characters and gameplay styles implemented into them. Like, just look at some of the Spyro games, for instance, and how many gameplay styles are in those games. It was not just Sonic, it was a game-wide trend that everyone was following, and so I totally get it. But now if you look at games from recent days, a lot of games do not implement multiple gameplay styles, and even if they do, it's really not multiple gameplay styles, more so just different characters. And so I do think that this is an idea that has grown to be outdated, and I personally do not want to see another Sonic game that uses multiple gameplay styles. And so before you jump down my throat and say, okay, I'm not a true adventure fan and I don't actually want an adventure game, I just want something that's like different, I guess, I have an idea that can ensure that we do solely focus on the best gameplay style but still maintain the adventure tradition of multiple characters. I want to direct you to Crash Bandicoot 4 and how this game handles multiple characters. This game came out a couple months ago, and so it's relatively recent, if I do say so myself. So besides Crash and Coco, which have the main gameplay style that we know and love Crash for, you also got to play as Tawna, Dingodile, and Cortex. All these characters had their own unique quirks to diversify their own separate levels, but they also ultimately shared the same gameplay style of Crash, which was pure hallway style platforming. Tawna feels very similar to Crash, except the fact that she has a grappling hook that helps her to maneuver to different environments in different ways compared to Crash and Coco. Dingodile has a vacuum that lets him grab items and spits them out at enemies, but he still travels through roughly similar levels compared to Crash and Coco. Now of course, Cortex has his ray gun, which allows him to manipulate the enemies and platforms in his levels and lets him make some interesting platforming challenges that you wouldn't get with Crash and Coco, but it still falls under that same line of being a platformer in a hallway styled environment. I really like the way that Crash Bandicoot 4 approached multiple characters because they all fit under the scope of what Crash Bandicoot is, which I can't say is the case for Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 when you have like mech shooting levels, fishing, and even treasure hunting that just does not fall under what I feel like represents a true Sonic game. So why can't we just have multiple characters in an adventure gameplay but have them all share a similar style to Sonic? Like, you could for example have Shadow be a separate character, and he can have separate abilities such as Chaos Control and Chaos Blast to help diversify his levels. Or you can even have Blaze with her own story, and she can make use of her fire powers to maneuver levels slightly differently. You know, the possibilities are endless. You could do the same with Tails, Knuckles, Amy, I don't know, whoever else you want to add into the story, because I'm not against multiple characters. I love the characters of the Sonic franchise. I love this cast, and I detest the argument of Sonic having too many friends and that it should only be Sonic and nothing else. I hate that argument because it totally discounts the fact that the Sonic franchise has a really rich environment and lore that should be taken fully advantage of. Because Sonic is not a simplistic franchise. Sonic has had so many different evolutions, reinventions, characters and such, and there's just so much to love about this franchise that if you just ignore it all and just try to keep Sonic to be this really simplified version of himself, I really don't think that does any good for the franchise that so many people have grown to love for its complexities and contradictions. I want to see Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Shadow, Rouge, and whoever else have their own stories in the next big Sonic game. But I don't want to see the gameplay deviate too much from what Sonic is all about, because I think the only way for Sonic Team to legitimately come up with a really great game is to let them focus on one gameplay style and make it the best it can be, and maybe create characters that kind of stem off of that gameplay style just so they can keep working on that core gameplay and make sure that's as perfect as can be. I really do think that this is the key to making sure that if we do get an adventure style game that it is successful. I'm not against seeing like a mech shooting spin-off or a treasure hunting spin-off in the future. In fact, I really do want to see a treasure hunting spin-off in the future. I think a Knuckles solo game is very long overdue and could be amazing, but I don't want to see these gameplay styles detracting from the main core gameplay style that everyone wants to buy these games for, and that is traveling as Sonic at high speeds, doing really impressive platforming mechanics, and just having a really great time. You know, if you divide and conquer too much, then you're going to come up with a product that tries to please everyone but pleases no one ultimately. And so I want the next Sonic game, no matter what they decide to do, to be focused and ready to go. You know, if you're gonna do boost gameplay, then focus on the boost gameplay and make sure it's as good as it can be. Same with the adventure gameplay, you know, just make sure you're focusing on that and making that as best as can be so that we have an amazing 2021 Sonic game. And man, I can't wait to see what it is. I don't know if it's gonna be adventure style. I kind of hope it is, but I'm not going to let my expectations get really high because it's Sonic Team and Sega. They could do pretty much anything at this point, so we'll just have to see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this discussion? Do you agree with me in the fact that we just want an adventure style game that focuses solely on the Sonic gameplay but maybe still have multiple characters that deviate slightly from Sonic? Or do you want the traditional adventure game where you have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow with all their separate gameplay styles? You want mech shooting and treasure hunting to come back? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'd be really curious to hear your thoughts and discuss them with you. But anyway, thank you all so much. 2020 is about to come to a close and I cannot be more excited. I'm really looking forward to what 2021 has to bring us. Hopefully it brings us something that's anything better than what we got this year. I feel like just the fact that we are getting something Sonic related is already a good sign, so we'll have to wait till then. But alright, thank you all so much. Thank you so much for watching this video. Special shout out to the Nerd Corner, Killer Lemurs, Team Ride with Sonic Gamers, Johnny Hinton Ortiz, Doomslayer, Jeremy Games, Trash Q, Abraham Muter, and Mass Muter. These are my patrons / YouTube members. If you'd like to become a patron or YouTube member, get access to a whole bunch of different perks, then please check out the links in the description box below. But alright, this is Riders, riding out.